Which Ferrari should you buy in 2026? Today I'm comparing these two Ferraris. The red SF90 from LEGO Speed Champions, and the blue one from the Metamorph collection by Power Build. This time LEGO really impressed me with the design of the red Ferrari. Printed logos, a cool new wheel design, although the model does have a few exposed studs that could have been hidden. But overall, it's a good model. Power Build created a bright blue Ferrari in the Liberty Walk style, with cool wheels, a wide-body kit, and a massive spoiler. Everything is done in the best traditions of tuning. It's a great set, but I do have a few questions about it. I'll start with the LEGO Speed Champions set, which was released in January 2026, and I'm sure many people have already bought it. The set includes 5 bags of parts, classic LEGO instructions that build into the SF90, 1 minifigure in a Ferrari outfit, with 2 faces and a helmet. It's a nice bonus for every LEGO set. A small sticker sheet with 7 stickers. There are also printed headlights and logos, which definitely get a thumbs up from me. I like this approach much more. The set also includes fenders with printed diffusers. There are a few parts with a new shape, or maybe they're just rare, but their use in the design looks great. I think in future LEGO sets, there will be more unique parts like these that allow builders to create more complex car elements. And the most important thing, the new wheel design, which is what made me happiest about this set. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Now I want to buy more of these wheels to install on some other models in my collection. The build itself, as always, was quick and enjoyable. I didn't even notice how fast the time passed. There are a few elements that aren't very secure on the model and can fall off if you accidentally touch them. But LEGO still did a great job. They created one of the best designs they've made in a long time. I think this is directly connected to Ferrari because Ferrari SF90 Straydale is one of the most technologically advanced Ferraris ever built. It's a car that essentially opened a new era for Ferrari, the era of hybrid hypercars, where a classic V8 works together with electric motors. Interestingly, the name SF90 wasn't chosen by accident. The letters SF stand for Scuderia Ferrari, and the number 90 marks the 90th anniversary of Ferrari's Formula One team. The car was created as a symbol of technology, transferred from motorsport to a road-going vehicle. This is a full hybrid hypercar. At its core is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8. On its own, this engine already produces incredible power, about 780 horsepower. But Ferrari added 3 electric motors to the system. 2 are mounted on the front axle, and 1 sits between the engine and the gearbox. Together, the system produces around 1,000 horsepower. For a road car, that's an enormous number. And it's not just about power, but how that power is delivered. Thanks to the electric motors, the car also gained all-wheel drive. For Ferrari, this is quite unusual, since most of their models have traditionally been rear-wheel drive. The 2 electric motors at the front allow the car to launch incredibly quickly. Acceleration to 60 miles per hour takes about 2.5 seconds, which puts it in the same league as hypercars like the LaFerrari. At the same time, the car remains comfortable enough for everyday driving. Another interesting feature of the SF90 is that it can drive purely on electricity. The range isn't huge, but the very fact that a Ferrari can move silently without the sound of an engine surprised many people. Ferrari also designed the car to be highly aerodynamic. Almost every line of the body contributes either to downforce or cooling. If you look closely at the front of the car, you'll notice complex air intakes and channels that guide airflow through the body. The headlights are very narrow and aggressive, giving the car a modern and technological appearance. This is different from many earlier Ferraris, where the design was smoother and more classical. The rear of the car is also fascinating. It features active aerodynamics. A special panel rises or lowers depending on speed and driving mode, helping either reduce drag or increase downforce. It's interesting to see how LEGO designers tried to recreate the shape of this car, using a relatively limited number of parts. The SF90 in the Speed Champions collection turned out to be very recognizable. Even at a small scale, you can clearly see the characteristic front shape, the narrow headlights, and the overall geometry of the body. The profile of the car is especially well captured. The SF90 has a long, low body line, and LEGO did a good job preserving those proportions. The wheels also deserve attention, as they closely resemble the original Ferrari rims. Another interesting detail is the color. Ferrari is traditionally associated with Rosso Corsa, the famous racing red that has been used for decades. That's why most Ferrari models, including the SF90, are produced in this iconic color. If you compare the SF90 with previous Ferrari models, you'll notice that the design has become more technological, fewer classic flowing lines, and more sharp, functional shapes. If the SF90 is a technological hypercar of the future, then the Ferrari F8 Tributo and the Liberty Walk version is pure aggression, tuning, and a bold display of style. All of this comes in the new set by Power Build, which was released in February 2026. Inside the box, you'll find a stylish display case for the model, beautifully designed instructions that are just as good as Legos, and a sticker sheet that you can choose not to use if you want to keep the model clean. The set includes 6 bags of parts, where you'll find unique wide fenders and a legendary wheels by Power Build. During the build, I also decided to redesign the front headlight section because the set didn't include printed headlights or transparent pieces. Otherwise, the car would look blind. The build of this F8 starts with a frame very similar to the SF90. After all, it's still a Ferrari, and even though these are different models and different brands, I wanted to compare these new releases and find out which one is better. The Ferrari F8 Tributo itself was introduced as the successor to the 488 GP. Ferrari took everything that worked well in the 488 and refined the concept almost to perfection. The car kept the 3.9-liter twin-turbo V8, but Ferrari engineers significantly improved it. As a result, the engine became both more powerful and lighter, producing around 720 horsepower. It's one of the most powerful V8 engines ever installed in a road-going Ferrari. The car remains rear-wheel drive, relatively lightweight, and very well balanced. But today we're not talking about the standard Ferrari F8. We're talking about the Liberty Walk version. Liberty Walk is a Japanese tuning company that became famous worldwide for its very recognizable style. Their cars are impossible to confuse with anything else. The main feature of Liberty Walk builds is their extreme wide-body kits, very wide fenders, expanded bodywork, aggressive bumpers, and often an extremely low suspension. And Liberty Walk never tries to make a car look subtle. Quite the opposite. Their goal is to make the car as provocative as possible. Wide riveted fenders, massive spoilers, and a very low stance have all become part of their signature style. When Liberty Walk works on a Ferrari, the result becomes especially interesting. Ferrari is traditionally associated with clean Italian design and a classic red body color, where every line is carefully shaped by engineers and designers. Liberty Walk takes that shape and completely reinterprets it. The first thing that catches your eye is the massive fender extensions. They dramatically increase the width of the car, and they're often mounted with visible bolts or rivets, which is actually part of the Liberty Walk aesthetic. The first thing that catches your eye is the massive fender extensions. They dramatically increase the width of the car, and they're often mounted with visible bolts or rivets, which is actually part of the Liberty Walk aesthetic. These wide fenders allow the installation of much wider wheels. When the wheels sit almost flush with the edge of the arches, the car instantly looks far more aggressive. The second element is the lowered stance. Liberty Walk cars almost always sit extremely low. Many of them use air suspension, which allows the car to drop almost to the ground. This creates a very dramatic silhouette. The car looks wide, planted, and extremely powerful. The third element is bold and memorable colors, like this light blue shade that looks very similar to Porsche Miami Blue. In this color, the Ferrari looks bright, aggressive, and stylish at the same time. At a car party, you definitely wouldn't walk past it without stopping to take a look. And on the street, it would attract countless looks and constantly make people turn their heads. The fourth element is aerodynamic components, splitters, side skirts, diffusers, and rear wings. All of these details enhance the racing character of the car. The SF90 is about high technology, hybrid engineering, and aerodynamics designed by Ferrari engineers. The F8 Liberty Walk is about emotion, style, and tuning culture, something that not everyone appreciates. One car shows how Ferrari engineers imagine their cars. The other shows what a Ferrari can become in the hands of tuning culture. I bought both sets and didn't regret it, despite the downsides each one has. So which one do you like more?